Welcome to Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, aka Honest Beam. That's my Twitch name. I am here today to talk with you about Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm going to stop overcompensating about why I haven't been here. In my last episode, I kind of go over that I have been going through some mental health issues, and I've been trying to get, as straight as I can on that to feel confident to put episodes out. I love this podcast. It's an outlet for me more than anything, and you can always expect episodes until I get consistent again, which I do believe I'll do. I will get more consistent, but until then, just know there's another one around the corner. I wanted to do some recapping of all the Deadpool and Wolverine stuff, and I want to do an episode like that before this one. I got a little carried away and I didn't get to it. So we're going to talk about what made Deadpool and Wolverine such a fantastic movie, and why did I walk out of that theater wanting to walk right back in to see it again. Personally, I've been a fan of the MCU since I saw Iron Man in theaters in 2008, and this was one of the best outings. I never seen anything like this movie because they're incorporating from everything that Marvel is right now, and where Marvel is as a franchise, and where the MCU is, where we are as an audience in Phase 5. All the amount of content produced in the multiverse saga so far, it adds up to hours and hours beyond the entire rest of the MCU nearly. So this movie, it's made for everyone. If you're a fan of the MCU, if you watched some of their TV shows, let's say Loki, for instance, you're actually Loki. I honestly might say that Loki is homework for this movie, and there are some people who say they need to feel standalone, and the movies need to be able to be watched by someone who's never heard of these movies before. In my opinion, and I think that's why like the third Captain America movie was a big crossover movie too. We know the character. We want to see them get into some shenanigans. We want to see them join forces with other heroes. We want what we want. Marvel listens to that. So what they have to do is not give us exactly what we expect, a little bit of what we deserve, and at the same time, exactly what we want. Personally, I wasn't let down by this movie. It's so hard to ignore rumor mills and fake news about the movie when you're on social media. So, one of the things I saw was Wolverine fights the Hulk. Boy, why would you say that? But we do see him for a second. We see him for a second, the Hulk. But in my opinion, I thought Wolverine was going to go toe-to-toe with the Hulk. It was going to be Eric Bana's Banner from the first Hulk way back in 2003, I think. Or it could have been Edward Norton's Hulk. There's a giant part of me that feels like something like that was proposed and it didn't go over because the Hulk has properties. The Hulk's properties are tied in somewhere else at another studio, so they can't make solo Hulk movies. They can only bring him in as a cameo right now in Marvel still, as far as they've come. Hulk needs a movie. Mark Ruffalo's Hulk needs a movie. But if this movie tells you anything, and it's going to tell Marvel and Disney, the fans are smart. The fans get what's going on, and we want more complex adult superhero stories. This is the proof that these movies aren't made for kids. You tell an outside fan, a non-fan, which there are many. A lot of people like the Marvel movies, but if you tell a non-fan you're going to see Deadpool, another superhero movie, they roll their eyes. I think it's all superhero movies are the same. What Marvel kind of did over the last few years, all the movies didn't seem the same. They had like a very strong, in my opinion, centered focused on the family aspects of all these heroes in Phase 4. The problem was New Rockstar, Screen Crush, they've both touched on this. They should have put out an Avengers movie at the end of Phase 4, or a team-up movie. A big, bring it all together movie. because at the end of each phase the Infinity Saga, in each phase, the end of the saga culminated with either like two huge movies like Endgame and then No Way Home a few months later, or we get the Avengers, or we get Age of Ultron to end phase 2. Phase 3, we get in Endgame and Spider-Man. So phase 4, it was Wakanda Forever. And that is celebrating the life of Chadwick Boseman. And there's a lot of like, the thing that, you know what, and I'm going to say it. Okay, I like Black Panther. I'll say I love Black Panther. I love the universe. I love the city of Wakanda. I love all that. But I think Black Panther Forever was a little too wrapped up in their own feelings about the great Chadwick Boseman that the movie felt depressing for me. I don't know if anyone else got that. Maybe I just missed Chadwick Boseman and I was sad. It's not that I didn't want to see Shuri put on the Black Panther suit, which was obviously inevitable, and it took so long to happen. In retrospect, Wakanda Forever wasn't really my favorite movie. And they got to stop showing big moments from these giant Marvel movies in the trailers. It has to stop. Like, I haven't seen a fake Marvel altered movie trailer in a while. Challenge me or show me if you have. But they have been giving away the plot in most of their trailers. And like, I don't know. I feel like maybe they've always been doing that. I feel pretty crappy when I've seen most of the movie in the trailer. Sometimes you know it when you're watching the trailer. Sometimes you'll see the movie and you'll be like, damn, that is in the trailer. I knew that was coming. But Deadpool and Wolverine still had enough surprises and cameos, and you're here because you saw it. If you're here because you're waiting to see it in past time, get out of here. We're talking about this thing. Saw the movie with my good friend TJ Terrence Galuli. He has been on a few episodes of this show, recapping a couple of series we all watched. He couldn't come over after the movie to do the episode, but we're going to have him back soon, talking to him about Marvel along with my good friend Dusty Baker. We get into it. It's a whole other type of podcast when we get together. And it's some of my favorite episodes, best memories come from making episodes with them after covering like a whole season of something. So where I was kind of like leading in with other movies like Wakanda Forever, like I am leading into the point that Marvel is trying to make those big feeling event movies again. And the thing is, some people don't want the event movies. They want good solo movies. I think Captain America, even though we're getting really cool aspects, I don't think it's going to be too much of a multiversal movie. I think it's going to be on the ground. And that's good. That's probably what we need. And I think it's the next Marvel movie to come out, and that's going to be in like February of next year. So we got some time, folks. I tell myself that, and I'm like, I'll get back to my podcast. It's just about sitting here, and I want to be positive about my opinions. I want to not sound bad. I don't want to be self-conscious and stuff. But whenever I see the superhero movies, they like a little kid, man. I feel like lifted up. I feel inspired. I feel like I can do anything. That's why I love Marvel, and the fact that they brought Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in. And let's just talk about like the first scene with him, Deadpool at his gravesite from the movie Logan. He literally digs up his body, and the TVA shows up, and he starts using Wolverine's adamantium skull and bones and everything to kill the TVA, and we've never seen such brutality in the MCU. And oh my goodness, the TVA, they were decapitated, they were slaughtered, they were beaten up. This movie didn't hold back on the action. Maybe the most action-packed Deadpool movie to date. One of the most action-packed Marvel movies to date, MCU movies. And this movie was less of a complete jump into the R616, which Deadpool does visit and has a conversation with who I still can't figure out was actually Happy Hogan or actually Jon Favreau. Like, who were those conversations? Who were those conversations with? Because it could have been either or. I don't think Jon Favreau Favreau's happy, can break the fourth wall and become Jon Favreau. So in retrospect, I'm probably going to guess that it was Deadpool just talking to Happy, because they did make the point of putting 616. And it's official. Sony and Marvel have differences on what the 616 universe is. Because Sony considers 616 the main timeline of the comics. So they put, I don't know what the exact number they put on our Marvel universe, but it's something like 199999. Like there's a bunch of nines in it. You hear it referred to in the Spider-Verse, across the Spider-Verse. And this one moment is a little confusing, and I want to see the movie again. It seems like he can multiverse travel with his time machine. Is that right? Like how did he get there? He just jumped over there. So Deadpool kind of like throws, I guess he learns about what the Avengers are, and he thinks about his disastrous run at X-Force, and there's just a moment there where he takes his suit off and leaves it in his locker. The movie, I don't know if it was more funny than it was like anything. It was hilarious. Me and TJ, we were cackling together pretty much the whole movie. There were like at least 2 or 3 moments where like I gave a huge laugh and nobody else did. Dude, I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but like it didn't even matter. I was still beyond pumped. Nothing can bring me down when we're in our Marvel times, guys. Like when we get a new Marvel movie, we're like hungry for it right now. You know, I needed a good MCU film. I think in my opinion, Deadpool and Wolverine set up the MCU really nice. There's a very it's kind of colorful aspect to it, just the locations, the people, the homage it pays to former franchises, the send off to the Fox universe. This was a goodbye Fox universe, Fox superheroes, and they put it on montage of the making of those films and all the memories of those films at the end. The Time of Your Life by Green Day, a little on the nose, yes. Did it almost bring me to tears? Yeah, because it's like, wow, you know what? I think a lot of people, we watched these, we grew up on these superhero movies, and that's all we had. We didn't have the MCU. The MCU turned superhero movies on their head. Nobody was ready. DC still ain't ready. You know? Good luck, James Gunn. I genuinely can't wait to see his Superman movie. But back to Deadpool and Wolverine. I watched all the Wolverine movies, everything he was in over the last few weeks. And Hugh Jackman is just an all-around greatest showman. And I love Wolverine more than I ever have at this moment in my life. After finally when he put his mask on towards the end and they fought the army of Deadpools, who seemed like a problem. I'd be worried about them. They could regenerate and they could all get like brutally murdered like that, and then at the end they all wake up like because they all have that Deadpool healing ability. I think Deadpool's healing is faster than Wolverine's. And Wolverine, man, we get to see some kick-ass moves by him in this movie. It's so hard to recap exactly like I'd want to. Because, I'm working from memory. I only saw the movie once. I was blown away in the moment. So there might be like a few things that I miss that you're really excited about. And if I miss that, I'm like, oh, man, I'm sorry. Channing Tatum. I'm pretty sure it was Channing Tatum. Like there were a few times they did a close-up on his face. I'm like, is that Channing Tatum? But it was, I believe, Channing Tatum as Gambit. And as I said, I watched the entire X-Men animated series before I watched X-Men 97. So I know Gambit now. And boy, it was cool to see Gambit like that in live action. He was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. It didn't really do him justice, similar to many of our favorite heroes, one being Deadpool. But even in the the post-movie little montage they showed of the making of all these movies, it did include Wade, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in Wolverine Origins, and I think it's a nice nod because if that didn't happen, if they didn't go there, they wouldn't be here right now. It takes a couple of not so great movies, but it's never the actor's fault. And Hugh Jackman was always there for it and is always there for it. He doesn't phone in Wolverine. He is Wolverine. We got another, I don't know who the actor was, but we got to see like what another actor looked like as Wolverine. I loved the little Wolverine. That was so funny. Dude, there were so many funny moments in this movie. When Deadpool, I'll tell you one thing. The name, this is something I'm embarrassed about, and this is maybe why I shouldn't improv my podcast, but I kind of like the In the Moment podcast. If I go back and listen, I like it in the moment. You guys get a whole sub story about me bringing my podcast back while we're here to talk about this movie. Good for you. I can't think of the guy's name, his best friend that is so awesome with the mustache, and all the Deadpools love him. Gary, is it? I can't think of his name because he's such a basic guy. But I should know it, and I'm not looking it up because I want to talk about this movie. He's hilarious too, by the way. I should open up IMDb right now, but this is a sign of like the laziness I have going on. I don't want to click and look. I think I just lost like my whole audience when I said that. Dude, the part with Thor and Deadpool like on the screen, like Thor is basically like crying over Deadpool dying or something like that, and it's just supposed to be like foreshadowing. I don't even know how are we gonna get there. How do we get there from here? And the one thing that left me a little unfulfilled, but in retrospect I respect, was the fact that we didn't see these guys posted up in the actual MCU. Well, let's be honest now. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, it covers multiple universes. So when I say the MCU, I'm thinking of 616. However, I may need to look at it a little bit differently because this was a movie created and a part of the MCU that spent maybe 5 less minutes in Earth 616. So, being nerdy and just looking at I think the MCU is now really cover, like that name, the title MCU, it covers everything we visited. The universes and everything. The universes count in MCU. It's not like there's got to be a point where we draw a line on the multiverse and actually put some rules on it. But I stand here wishing that, and then now I am kind of happy that Deadpool got to be a hero of his whole universe. We got to see this poor Wolverine, who I heard a story in like Screen Crush where they said there's a story where Wolverine is being like messed with by I think Mephisto or I don't know who it is. Someone's messing with Logan's mind, and he turns all the X-Men turn into bad guys, and he kills them all. And then they show up, and then he sees he killed all his friends. I thought they were gonna go there. I think they might have gone there and didn't tell us all the way that, or they didn't want it to be that dark. However, this Logan is a new Logan. He's lost and he's low, and this movie picks him up out of a dark place, and the chemistry between is wonderful. They have great like synergy together, and I definitely see audiences wanting more of that. This is a very risky movie for Marvel Disney, and I think the risk is paying off. We see audiences lining up for this movie. I mean, it's kind of funny how they'll say something is a midnight release these days, and the midnight release is 5:00 p.m. on Thursday. That's exactly when I saw it yesterday. I mean, what? The release date should just be the day that they're actually putting it out. I think that is so confusing, but it makes me happy knowing that maybe I'll get the best seats in the house if I buy my tickets too early, a little early, like me and TJ did. He's like, how's G10 and G11? And I look at it, it's like center of like the giant theater we're in, like no better seat in the house, man. TJ, shout out on those tickets, man. We went through it together. Let's fucking go. Yeah, this podcast is a jumbled mess of what I remember about the movie in pieces, left, right, up, down. But I will tell you again and remind you the Deadpool movies themselves are the same form of storytelling. The first Deadpool is like cut into 10 chunks of his origin story and his current time, like where he's fighting on the bridge. And that vibe is Deadpool, because Deadpool can jump all over the place. So that's me justifying here that I'm going to jump all over the place at least around the movie. I know I've talked about a lot of other things but the movie. But in every episode of Marvel Mania, probably for the past 10 episodes, you'll probably hear me saying, oh, it's good to be back. Because there's been a bit of a year and a half wait between episodes. And this is, our second one back. And you know what? I'm proud of myself. I've come a long way in this year. And let's stop talking about me. Let's get back to the movie. Let's get back to the movie, the real deal. It didn't take long for the movie to pick up. The beginning was so sweet, where Deadpool is like talking to us. It's like, I get my own movie. I don't think he said that. He says he's like, you're bringing me into the Marvel universe. Like, he kind of sets the table at the very beginning of the movie, and I'm glad they didn't go too far into the MCU yet, and it's a good sign that they didn't, because that tells me that they're building to it, and that means we're getting more of them together. So the fact that we didn't get to see Doctor Strange or whoever we'd hoped for to meet, like Wong or Wong isn't everything. I'm surprised Wong didn't make it in. We gotta wait a little bit. There's some anticipation building. Like I said, they set the table earlier. They're still setting the table. They've been trying to set the table in Marvel since Phase 4. For how do you make a movie bigger than Endgame? You get a lot more heroes. So Phase 4 was about introducing a whole new Avengers and hero team. And now Phase 5 is kind of picking up on that main multiverse story again. And we're not deep in the cracks of every superhero origin story. This movie turns origin stories on its head. The fact that we got to see Wolverine, the one that we knew from his main timeline, go on a journey through Logan, to this Deadpool cutting into his grave and using his adamantium skull as a weapon. That was the greatest opening. And the dance, I can't think of the song that was on in the background, but it was perfect. Maybe my favorite opening. I love the opening to Deadpool 2, though, with the song "Let Beauty Fall Out of Ashes," where he's like laying on top of a gun, and he's so good. I love these movies. And now the third one, if you get a trilogy where the first movie's good, the second movie's better, and then you get the third movie that's just as good or if not better, it's like, fuck yes, we won. Ryan Reynolds won. Deadpool won. Wolverine win, all across the board. And forgive me, but not at the same time, my excitement. It's the only Marvel movie we get all year. It had to be good. Let's just say that, right? For being honest, this movie had to be really good. I haven't I'm blown away by this movie. I'm still speechless. And I saw it over 15 hours ago. I am scared of audience reactions. Sometimes I'll love something and I don't read the reviews. And then when I read them, I feel shameful. I really like The Rise of Skywalker, or The Last Skywalker, whatever the frick the last Star Wars movie was at the time when I saw it. Most of those new Star Wars movies, I liked them and enjoyed them, and then I go online and it's a giant pitchfork angry mob of what was wrong with this movie. What did they do to this movie? The Force Awakens was optimistic, I remember. But yeah, if you're new to my podcast, thanks for hopping in. I'll just say that I do go off on tangents, sometimes in a different direction. It is Marvel Maniac, so we're, it's a Deadpool episode, but just, bear with me. It's been a while since I've done this, and there's a lot we haven't talked about. It's not like we'll talk about it all today, but like I said, this movie is a multiverse movie outside of 616. It's so charming how he wants to become an Avenger, but it's like 5 years, pretty much the same time gap that the Avengers go through for the snap. Deadpool hangs up his suit, pretty much like since we last seen him. I'm thinking pretty much hangs up the suit, and he has this big birthday party, and he's living kind of a mediocre life. And just when he blows out his candle, I don't know what that did. I don't know if that was a one of those moments. What the frick are they called? I can't think of it. A Nexus event that like got the attention of the TVA. I don't know what he wished for. He probably wished to be an Avenger. A lot of the movie, like, I was wanting answers from, like, what's going on at the TVA? Aren't they with Loki now? Aren't they good guys? Why is Mr. Paradox seem so much like a villain? And why is he technically being a villain? Well, we get to see B-52 at the end of the movie, Hunter B-52 from Loki, and she says something along the lines of, they went a little rogue. They weren't supposed to be doing what they were doing in that department of the TVA. So Loki's canon. They even bring up that they used to just chop the timelines and it was never that big of a deal. So we are ahead of the series Loki canonically. Like, it's kind of hard to place that because it's in the TVA, which is like another universe where time passes differently. And in my mind, the TVA became good guys at the end of Loki. And at the beginning of the movie, to see that, whoa, Deadpool's fighting the TVA and literally brutalizing them, like murdering the TVA. It's insane. And then you're thinking, how awesome it is. But at the same time, like, does this take place before Loki? Their suits are different. I personally, I obsess over these like little things because I want to see the connections, I was really worried that I was like, this is just their take on the TVA, like, or something like that, But no, the one thing I would have liked to see is that tree, multiversal tree, but we didn't get to see that. No Owen Wilson cameo, which I'll accept. They got to bring him in though in one of these movies, and I don't know. I think Loki still has a story going forward. I imagine it's similar to how Loki can use his powers to duplicate himself. I think he'll have maxed out duplication powers where he'll be able to pretty much project himself wherever he wants or needs. I think he'll be like more of a guidance figure to the Avengers rather than fighting with them, because technically he might be a little OP right now. I don't know. He's hundreds of more years old than he became from that last episode of Loki. But I want to see Loki in the movies, and the fact that we're acknowledging at least the TVA and what happened in Loki, this is all coming together. And Deadpool is kind of stoked about being an Avenger. Mr. Paradox kind of presents to him like, you are an Avenger now. So Deadpool works with the TVA for like 2 seconds before he punches Mr. Paradox in the face and goes out to look for Wolverine so he can save his universe, because basically his universe is dying, and he wants to save that universe. He's not, like, once he realizes that he's going to lose his people, he's not trying to get into 616 MCU Avengers, which is so funny because it's like, who's running the Avengers right now anyway? We haven't heard anything about the actual Avengers in like 5 years since so they definitely fulfilled that 5-year gap. I was like, man, I wonder what we'll be watching in 5 years. Well, here we are 5 years later, and still no Avengers. However, they like I said, they've been building up. They introduced Cassandra Nova, Professor X's twin sister, and in the comics, Professor X like hurts her in the womb or something like that. And anyway, she's really good. She owns a giant building that is actually Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, and they go inside of his body. It's kind of disgusting, but it seems so fortified and like used. Like they have stuff all over him. Like it's a real fortress. I don't know why they're using his body like that. He must have gotten in a confrontation with them or something, one of the Ant-Men, and went big and then got destroyed and fell just like that. Which is sad. The multiverse saga is sad. Like, we talk about entire universes dying here. Like, that's easy to say, but like, imagine it. Like, everyone on Earth, and then every extraterrestrial and every being in existence is gone in a second. Like, they tried to bring that home in Loki season 2, like the weight of what they were doing by deleting these timelines, like taking lives. And this is why Loki took over and beat Kang, who remains, into making the multiverse real. Let the multiverse thrive. If there's a real threat, the TVA is policing it. So is Wade Wilson a threat? No, he's an asset. I kind of find it funny. There's so many Deadpools that I wonder how long they've been coming in to get like stacked up like that in the void. You know, we get to see Eliath from Loki. I'm a huge Loki fan. Loki, my favorite MCU show by far, and I think it's a lot of people's. And I think Eliath was a great cameo / threat. I am really starting to think, you know, we see Ryan Reynolds on his back during his epic fight with Wolverine. It's funny how I never call him Deadpool. But the Secret Wars comic it was in the trailer. It's laying next to him. I'm going to go like 60% sure to 70. I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure the void where most of the movie took place is going to be what Battle World was in the comics. I think that it's big enough. I think it might be its own Earth, just left at the end of time. A wasteland for Kang to dump all his garbage, or all the universe's garbage and variants. They just send him out there to like the wilderness of the TVA. I've seen a couple people come back from that now. The void at the end of time. It's kind of really great that they merged those two things. I needed to see something from the shows and the movies, you know? The last thing we got, I think, was like Captain Carter. And man, she's awesome. I hope that's not like the only time we see her. The possibilities are endless. And I think once Marvel gets out of its discomfort zone we're in right now, I think this is pulling it out of the discomfort zone, and we're going to start getting really good stories again like this. And similar to the first, second, third phase of the MCU, I think Phase 5 still has potential to be one of the greater phases. I think Ant-Man's still aging like fine wine. Guardians, think about that. That was a great freaking movie. The Marvels was a great movie. I don't know why it got so much hate. I love the Marvels. I'd go see it in theaters again. I'm not rich. I can't go to the theaters every day. I don't have a movie pass. But you know what I'm saying. Like, the Marvels wasn't horrible. The part where they go to the singing village place, maybe a little weird. But it's from the comics. There's like a certain line that Marvel usually doesn't cross to make it too comic booky, but Phase 4 has kind of been paying homage to the comic booky, outfits, and like WandaVision, how we'll get her wearing her classic, and Vision their classic Marvel suits. It's kind of a lot of paying homage to the comics. I like the Eternals as well. A lot of people did not like the Eternals. I want to see Deadpool interact with all these characters. I think Deadpool would be kind of somewhat of a leader in the new lineup. However, I don't know how he's going to get into 616, but I'm not worried about it. There is a way for him to get there. He'll get there. Same with Wolverine. We're going to see him again. Because they would have they wouldn't have started a whole new Wolverine story in this movie if they didn't want to like put it through Secret Wars. Because they're at a standstill because they want to make the Mutant Saga after Secret Wars. They want to make it the Mutant Saga. So they're going to make a whole new X-Men. Officially, a new Wolverine will be cast after Secret Wars. But in the comics, we can't have everything from the comics, and they try to bring in as much as they can, I'm sure. But Wolverine is a part of that story, Secret Wars. So to have Wolverine on our side that we know personally, we've been with him through his backstory. We kind of feel for him. We hurt for him when he tells us what happened. That guy we're gonna see again, and he's gonna kick some ass. I don't know how censored it'll be because the Avengers movies have to be PG-13. They need to make the money. They need to make their money on those movies, and Disney and Kevin Feige, more importantly, has learned quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. It hurts that we're not getting as much, but I'll take this opposed to a show like Secret Invasion. A complete flop in my eyes. I had fun watching it, so I won't say complete flop. I'll take that back. Love Samuel L. Jackson. Nothing wrong with him. It's the writing and a waste of a story from the comics that could have been an Avengers movie at the end of Phase 4 like we were talking about earlier. I love that Deadpool acknowledges to Wolverine. It's like, welcome to the MCU. You've come in at a bit of a low point. He's just a spokesperson for the fans. How honest Kevin Feige approves that. Like, that taking shots at yourself, a comic, like a comedian, isn't as funny, in my opinion, when they're roasting somebody. It's funnier when they can make fun of themselves. And I love that Deadpool's new here, kind of, and he's actually laying out the truth. It is a bit of a low point. It's scary for us Marvel MCU fans because most of these movies, which the diehard fans would probably consider great movies, they're being called flops, and that's a bunch of baloney to me. I think people are like wanting every movie to be Avengers Endgame, and it can't. This movie almost is like kind of like that with the heroes they brought in. They brought in Elektra, they brought in Blade, Wesley Snipes, the freaking who else? The girl from Logan, more grown up now, obviously, still as equally badass. Deadpool and Wolverine definitely leave them there. Well, that's not really talked about, but they were really there to help them get home and save their universes, which they are able to do. They Deadpool and Wolverine connect their energy together, and this is why I want to see the movie again. I'm not sure exactly how that worked, but that one machine was able to destroy an entire timeline. Cool. Yeah, cool. I like that they kind of did a Guardians of the Galaxy thing where Deadpool couldn't do it alone, but then Wolverine shows up. He's like he probably saw Deadpool's being a hero. I'm gonna be the hero. I'm a hero too. This Wolverine became a freaking hero in this movie. And man, that mask looks so cool. At first, it looked weird to me, but when I saw him in combat, like there was some like maybe really close to freeze frame moments. I'm like, you can't dream what we're watching. You couldn't dream what I just watched right now. I was like, what just happened? Like that, it looked like maybe like an angle from a 2D video game, and they were going down the street, decapitating and brutalizing an army of Deadpools. In retrospect, I think you're supposed to see the golden guns to find our Deadpool, but he's a little hard to see. But you also notice where he is and who he is because Wolverine and him are doing like attacks together. That is maybe one of the biggest and coolest action sequences in the whole movie, and probably another reason I will go see it again in theaters. As funny as that sounds, I want to go see it again in theaters, but it's going to be on Disney Plus in like 3 months. So that's why they're charging more and more every month. Remember when Disney Plus was $5? It's $13.99 now if you really want it. No ads. Who wants anything with ads? I mean, if you can't afford it and only can get ads, I do it too. I can't barely afford $13.99 a month, but I watch Infinity War as like a bedtime movie now. It's fucked up. Thanos is literally evil, but the whole ambiance of Marvel and the MCU, and especially Infinity War, a lot of color, a lot of payoff, a lot of heroism. Even the villain feels like a hero in his own right. You kind of, if you can write off the genocide, you kind of can get like his perspective. And part of me, I heard a rumor that they were going to jump in through that portal into Final Battle of Endgame, and I was thinking like all the problems that would cause. Like that's exciting, but it's like, is this a separate timeline? You know what I mean? They don't know. None of them know who they are. So like, that's I thought that was going to happen, but it didn't. I'm kind of glad it didn't because we don't need to see them. I love to go. I honestly would love to see them like do something like that. But like, it's got to be good. And if it was probably on the table, it wasn't as good of an idea as what they came up with, and that's leaving them alone in their own universe. That was a twist. That was a twist. Like, they're alone, but they save their universe and they share it. And Wolverine has a home there, and that makes me happy. I was a happy ending. It was a solid ass team up movie. I consider it Deadpool 3. I heard once or twice that Deadpool 3 will still be called Deadpool 3. This was Deadpool 3, okay? Like, this was Deadpool 3. But beyond deserved to put the respect on Wolverine's name and put him in the title. He's not a side character in this movie. Their chemistry is just so good. I've been going on about this for about 40 minutes now. I'm trying to like maybe scrape the brain for what happened, any other big moments. Little Wolverine was so funny. I think I talked about that already. Like I said, I'll have to re-see the movie. Wolverine in his classic comic book outfit felt so right, and that mask looked so right, and I loved that they did that. I liked the cameos a lot. I thought the fact that Johnny Storm came in, Chris Evans, like he looked like he maybe could have been Captain America there, and he flamed up. They did that to us. Like, they were like, is he Captain America? Is he Captain America? Captain America. And then it's not. It's Johnny Storm or Johnny Flames. I'm not familiar with the Fantastic Four as I am all other Marvels, so I'm excited for the new series. I did see the movies in theaters when I was a lot younger. That was a long time ago. I don't think I've seen them since. Really good to see Chris Evans just in a Marvel movie again. For the love of God. And the way they did that was so funny. And Deadpool, they arrive at the place in front of Cassandra Nova. The Paul Rudd Ant-Man building. It's now. I wonder how much that cost them per square mile. That was a bad joke. Deadpool sells Johnny out all the shit he said about Cassandra, apparently. And it kind of seems like Wade is just making this up to get Johnny like in trouble to see what she's going to do. And she literally like rips the skin from his corpse. That was disgusting. Like, she fucked him up. And dude, at the end post-credit scene, if you waited until after the credits, you see like a recording of Johnny Storm saying all those bad things about her. Like, oh my God, Chris Evans potty mouth, man. Language. That's a reference to Avengers Age of Ultron. I hate my audience. I'm working on my I listen back and I hear them. I'm trying. There it is. Oh my gosh, to be self-aware yet to not be able to change is truly painful. Okay, there's another one. At least now I'm catching them in real time, which is probably not as fun for you. I'm not going to go much longer on this. Usually when I see the movie in theaters, I don't post a long episode because I can't recap everything. And if I try to make it a long episode, it'll be horrible. Like, because I'll just be like trying to fill time. What I will do, and it's something that, first I want to say one more thing about Cassandra Nova, how she could put her freaking fingers inside someone's head and read their thoughts. It's gross, but it's awesome. And it's a cool power. I wonder if we'll see her again. I'm going to go to Marvel Studios subreddit, and we're going to read the top comments about what they thought about the movie. So this is a great place to read comments and see what people are thinking about. Reddit.com/Marvel/r/Marvel Studios. Tallulah32 says, it wasn't the arrival of Deadpool in the MCU. It was the last goodbye from Deadpool to all the MCU movies, all the not MCU movies. It was great. Love it. I agree. I love the movie, and I love the homage. The first reply to that, Kiddu Janice loved that they showed behind the scenes too. It was so wholesome. I almost cried. I mean, I watched most of these movies. Like, I'm a big fan of the MCU, and I'm all about the MCU, but it's almost like I forgot about all these movies. But I also recently watched them, so it was very it was very like it hits you in the soul, in the spirit right there, you know. Improvement Puzzled 82 on Reddit says Reynolds saying something in the line of "You always hated me" to Wesley Snipes. LOL. I don't know. I don't know that reference, but I'm pretty sure he was in. No, he wasn't. He was in a Blade movie. Okay, Blade is the only movies I haven't seen referencing this. I didn't see Blade or any Blade, but I know the character from plenty of YouTube clips, and I'm not avoiding it. I just never got to it. Oh, but it was so cool to see him. You know, it was an homage. It was homage, and that's what Henry Cavill, who plays Superman, stock photo 3978 says the Henry Cavill Wolverine scene was hilarious. Yes. And it shows that he looks great as Wolverine. I think he would make a great Wolverine. I didn't realize it was him and Deadpool until Deadpool said it. He looked freaking massive. That was what Kiddu Janice replied. I think he's top replying a couple things. Kieran Flores says, "You piece of shit, you just got him fucking killed." We're all grieving. He knows what he was doing was the budget. He knows what he was doing to that budget. Oh man, I gotta see the movie again. That's funny, man. Jashby26, he says, "I was hoping there'd be a Cyclops or Storm cameo, but Deadpool asking Gambit if his dialect coach was a minion surpassed all my hopes for this movie." So true, dude. His accent wasn't great. It's acknowledged in the movie. The reply to that is Lee at T. It says, "We got Johnny Storm," and that was a great surprise. Gbus 31 says, "With all the behind the scenes problems the new one has been going through, I think it's really funny that Wesley Snipes technically got to be the first Blade in the MCU." Oh yeah. Oh man, that's true, man. I just read Kevin Feige's statement today about their Blade, the new Blade in the MCU, and he says they're taking their time with it. They don't want to mess it up, and they'll take as long as they need to make it right. And I think that's great. I respect that. I think they haven't had that mantra for maybe 2 years. Retro Pro 31. He might have said something else, but he says, "Yo, can we just talk about the CGI for Gambit's powers during the fight scene? That shit genuinely had me pumped. So well done. Fuck yes. So cool." I don't put an advisory warning on language for this podcast, but it's an R-rated movie we're talking about, so I just kind of imagine I could be R-rated too, you know? Sacrificial Shark says, "He really was a good live-action Gambit. I never believed, now I've seen. The accent/speech joke was hilarious. Unfortunately, doubt we'll see him again." Yeah, I don't think we'll see him again. They gotta save like the surprise of some of these characters for the movies. And I already heard that they're using 97 X-Men as kind of like a base for what they're gonna do with the X-Men. We'll read a few more comments. Our Dylan 7 says, "When Laura wore the glasses she had in the Logan movie." Oh, yeah, I remember that. I love, Homegrove says, "I loved hearing her absolutely feral scream a few times. Freaked me out in Logan how the kid can do that. That was insane. That kid is a good actor because of that. That was crazy. She's crazy." Chad Wico says, "There was a lot of great cameos and references, but when Wesley fucking Snipes strolled into frame, I was genuinely shocked. Great fun movie. I hope most of y'all weren't fully unspoiled like I did. What a fun experience." Yes, Chad, I agree. I tried to avoid all the trailers coming out this last week of revealing more and more about the movie. Last comment, right? Rice plus pork. Chris Evans first swore. I was like, that's a bit out of character. Then the motherfucker flames on and I lose my shit because that was great. Yeah, that was great. Oh my God. Okay. That's going to lead us to the end of this episode. What was your favorite moment in the movie? Marvel Maniac Pod on Twitter. We're Marvel Maniac Pod on Instagram. We're Marvel Maniac everywhere. Marvel Maniac and MCU After Show. Find us, tell us. MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. Give me your take. You'll hear it on the show at this point. I can guarantee you, unless this episode goes viral and there's 500 emails, not going to happen. I'll definitely get your email. MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. I just want to say I'm humbled and so thankful if you made it this far that you have come to listen to me talk about your favorite movie of the year, most likely. And just like Deadpool's humbled in the beginning of this movie, I am humbled. And I love doing this podcast. It brings me the most satisfaction being able to talk about Marvel on mic. And I lost that power, kind of like when Spidey lost his powers in Spider-Man 2. We're going to talk about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I lost my power. Like I go on the mic and I couldn't speak. Even if I loved it, hated it, I couldn't speak. Going through a lot of changes in my life. So I'm sitting here with you today. I might have fumbled through some stuff. I'm not perfect, but I'm really happy with how this episode went today, and I'm really optimistic about this show going forward. And I say this on the shorter episodes. This isn't a short episode. I used to do 2-hour, 1.5 hour long episodes. Maybe this will be the new runtime. But, I try to, when I see the movie in theaters, to cover everything. But obviously, I didn't have a notepad with me. I don't get an early version of the movie. So it's all from working memory. My working memory, short-term memory, isn't the best. But when I'm watching something like Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm hooked. I'm watching it. I'm in. What were your thoughts on the movie? Again, marvelmaniacpod@gmail.com. I'm only saying that so many times because I really want to hear your thoughts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a Marvel fan. I hope that this movie can keep us all in high hopes until we get the next one. And we're going to really enter the next great phase of the MCU, starting with Guardians of the Galaxy. Honestly, they're doing a good job. Let them cook, like they say. Let them cook. Feige's got this. They're bringing back the Russo brothers for the next Avengers movie. They made Infinity War and Endgame. They're my favorites. Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be in Secret Wars. We got so much to look forward to and talk about on this show. This is your host, Eric Cicada, a.k.a. Mr. Honest, a.k.a. Honest Beam. It's my gaming name. Might as well come say hi on Twitter. That's my gaming name. On Twitter. On Twitch. I'm not streaming a lot. If you want to see me stream Spider-Man, I'll play it for you. I beat the first Spider-Man so many times. They need to put Spider-Man 2, the video game, on PC. Okay, I'm getting all my words out. I feel like I'm in an award show and they're rushing me off stage. I'm just genuinely excited. I remember coming home from Spider-Man No Way Home, feeling this excited and just putting on the mic and talking about William Dafoe's Green Goblin. Today is a good day for Marvel fans. It's an optimistic day, and I hope you have the best day or night or week or year, whatever. I want you to feel like we're all moving forward in a good direction, and I don't know what that means. Thanks for being here. MarvelManiacPod@gmail.com. It's the 5th time I've said it. You are welcome here, and your thoughts are important to me. If not, I'll always be able to go to the Reddit. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being an audience member. I'm gonna go now. There will be many more Marvel movies to talk about. You will see this podcast post another episode in near future. I'm not setting myself up to lie with having a nickname called Mr. Honest. Trying to stay as honest to myself as I can, as well as you. Thank you. And until next time, Avengers, disassemble.